I've also driven an E39 M5.
Yes, that's the best.
That is a marvellous car.
Is it the blue one on there?
Yeah, it's the Heritage with the grey interior.
Yeah, fabulous. So they got my stains out, did they then? That's good.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Wonderful.
Welcome back to The Gassing Station, powered by Michelin, the podcast that goes searching through the Pistonheads forums like a clownfish searching for their lost son. I'm Cam Tate, and joining me today isn't a forgetful blue tank voiced by a shunned talk-show personality, but instead The Gassing Station's new co-presenter, Sam Sheehan. Sam, did any of these Finding Nemo references land, or did they go completely over your head like a lot of other people?
Totally over my head, yeah. But
yeah,
I appreciated
so.
them nonetheless.
So kind of the way this works is I try and introduce the pod with lots of different references every week. I did a Titanic reference last week that I haven't been cancelled for just yet, and they are getting more and more tenuous. Now, for people who don't know, if you've been on Pistonheads for a few years, Sam Sheehan's name will probably be familiar to you because you were a former staffer and then you went away to go and present a car channel, which you still do present, but you're now also back with us doing podcasts and driving some cool cars, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember my time at Pistonheads so well. In fact, sometimes when I'm laying in bed and thinking the coolest job in the world is this, I'm often thinking about my Pistonheads years because they were just so fun. But yeah, I went away for a bit, but now I'm in the wild world of freelancing, which means I get to come back here and wear this wonderful merch. Mine's not as impressive as yours, but...
Well, I'm going to get onto my merch in a little bit, actually. What I was going to say, though, is so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can obviously see us. You can see my very shiny jumper. Sam's wearing, because obviously he's not been under the PH umbrella for a while. We've had a rebrand since Sam was working at PH. So if you actually turned your back, which is going to be very difficult to do in a podcast studio, it's got the old Pistonheads logo on the back, which for some people who still don't like our rebrand will come as some sort of comfort. But you and I have kind of... We didn't really enter at the same time. I think you came into the car journalism world a few years before I did. We both did the Coventry car journalism course. Yeah. But I've always been aware of your career because there's been particularly at Pistonheads, because you used to be on the YouTube channel and you made some really quite awesome videos. Two springs to mind, one of which is you drove a 911 RSR Le Mans GT car. You sod.
I still have to pinch myself with that one. It feels like a dream.
What on earth was that like?
Epic. I mean, I could talk for the entire podcast about that, but
we've got an hour to fill,
save the viewers and listeners that. But yeah, it was unbelievable. The thing actually which was most amazing was I got in that car, believe it or not, thinking it's going to be really spiky because it was a rear mid engine setup, because obviously 911s, famously very far rear engine cars. But it was so grippy on the tail, so much performance, but it wasn't that quick in a straight line. Because you're getting a 911 Turbo S on the road, and that is faster. Oh,
ridiculously fast. But those GT cars, they're quite heavily restricted, aren't they? I think it's like if you went into when McLaren raced the F1 at Le Mans. Yeah. You know, that's a car that the road car could do 240 miles an hour, whereas I think the racing car was doing like 170, 180, which is nothing. But yeah, those GTE cars were designed to be usable. So would you describe it as as an accessible racing car?
Yeah, I mean accessible in the sense that when you got in it, it didn't catch fire or do anything crazy. It didn't throw me off the road. It helped that it was a 35-degree day in Portugal, so the tyre temp was pretty good. But when you got rolling at medium speed, you thought, oh, this is really easy. I can do this. But then it was when I realised actually the level you have to get to. And this is the consistent thing I find with all racing cars that are proper racing cars, rather than road modified track cars, although they can still be very fast. It's the level is to a higher bar that you can even imagine. It's the entry speed, the braking points, when you can get on the throttle is all far, far more extreme than you can even imagine. So I got probably, to 60%, if that. I think that's being generous. And even then they were like, oh, well done, mate. You really pushed it.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that if you had come back to Porsche and said, I had a great time, but by the way, your Le Mans car is now in the gravel upside down, they might have been a little bit cheesed off.
Yes.
So that was extremely cool. I remember that very clearly. If you listen to the previous episode and the way I teed Sam up, you'll know I said, go and have a look at the GTAM video on the Pistonheads YouTube channel, and that's our new presenter. That video, I think if you mention Sam's name to other car journalists, that's the first thing they'll pick out is, oh my, do you remember that GTAM video? Because it's, from what I remember, you didn't actually say anything in it. No. It's a very beautifully shot video, but you were just laughing the whole time while driving it by the scruff of its neck.
Epic car. I probably failed a bit as a journalist in that video, as you've highlighted. Didn't really do the journalist bit, did I?
I don't think you failed.
Wow, this is cool.
Yeah. I think you conveyed that kind of like, it made me want to go and drive it because it was so cool.
It's an epic machine. I mean, honestly, another one I could spend an hour talking about. Like that car is spectacular. And then that GTAM in particular with the track style modifications. And it was still fabulous to drive on some of the best roads in Wales, which therefore mean best roads in the world because they were just epic. So fabulous car. And Harry Rudd at the time was filming that, and we had so much fun.
Yes, he makes some very good videos. And actually, what's interesting about that is our former co-host John absolutely hated the Giulia Quadrifoglio with a passion, and we now have someone on who likes it a lot. Right? You're quite fond of it. Yeah.
I respect John's opinions on that because he's fantastic journalist and has far more experience than me.
He's a proper old school magazine journalist as well, and he has, when he tests cars, he has specific criteria that they need to meet.
Yeah.
So when he says he doesn't like something, he does mean it from a, it comes from a good place.
Yeah.
But there also is a, if it feels good, that's a big part of it, right?
That's it. I mean, I get in that car even thinking, oh, maybe I should be a bit more critical, but then I'm just instantly having the best time ever. It's just engine. I mean, the big flappy paddles, they are wonderful flappy paddles. The best flaps in the business. Honestly, they are so good.
Yeah, if you want good flaps, get a Giulia Quadrifoglio. Well, you can, because they're axing it, right?
Yeah.
And it's going off soon. So
it's
been around for a while.
I was about to say, I think it's lasted a bit longer than a lot of us thought, but thank God it has, because it's such an epic machine. Do
you remember when they were going to do a coupe version of it?
Oh, yeah.
Was it the GTV they were going to call it?
I think so, yeah, bring the name back. And I remember all the renderings. Oh, yeah, it was good.
So good, and you didn't do it. So, Sam, the way this works, and this will be a helpful refresher for anybody that's just come into the episode. We've got 16 other episodes if you want to have a listen and catch up. But we start off with a topic that's a little bit more current affairs-y. I'll basically have a look through the PH homepage, see what everyone's talking about, and then we'll jump in on it as well. Then on the second topic, I pick a buying challenge. I go through the forums. I find someone who's looking for some advice on to buy a car, and then we try and give some PH-style advice as to what they could buy. And then finally, it's kind of an anything goes. But if there's something that's just kind of, we want to talk about it, then we'll have a good natter about it. Again, that's taken from the PH forums too. So before we get stuck in, if you're watching this on YouTube, we had just talked about it. I'm wearing an extremely shiny jumper, as I was in the last one. The previous episode, this was a prototype, Sam.
Oh, wow. So this is a production.
This is an XP.
Wow.
I don't know if it's got a build number. But I mean, I'll say this as a note to the marketing team at PH, of which I'm a part of. We should start actually putting serial numbers on because that would be really freaking cool.
That's epic.
I've got a Porsche notepad at home with a serial number.
So they're uniquely numbered.
Actually, got a serial number.
Have you not written on it? Is it just blank?
No, it's
framed?
It might go up in value one day. Yeah, it's 0 mileage Porsche notepad. Yeah. They do the same for. Is it Volkswagen has a Bratwurst?
Oh yes, they do, and it's got a part number.
It does have a part number. Yeah,
that is really cool. Yeah,
that is extreme. I've not eaten it because again I'm waiting for it to go up in value.
Yeah, keep it in that a cold storage and sell it in 50 years.
Exactly. But this was an XP, and it's now available to buy. So we've
does it come with sunglasses, by the way? For everyone else.
You can get Pistonhead sunglasses. I'm not sure if it's available at the shop, but we've been giving them away at Sunday services. More of an excuse to come to a Pistonhead Sunday service. Next one's at Thruxton, by the way, on the 7th of December. We actually have an offer going on clothing, so all sweatshirts and hoodies until Christmas is buy two and save a tenner with the code XMASFITS. Use that on the checkout at pissandheads.shop. I've been given it in all capitals. Type it in on all capitals, so that's Xmas, not Christmas, Xmas, fits, all one word. Plug that in, and you save a tenner.
Are we going to talk about Xmas fits? It sounds a little bit like when you've had too much food and you're a little bit
yes,
shaky.
It does sound dangerously close to Xmas something else ending in its. But
yes.
Anyway, the perfect excuse to go on to our first topic. And I can already hear the keys clattering on this one. Because anytime we bring up something that's electric or electrified, it does tend to seem to provoke a bit of a reaction. And this one may... Well, it already has, which is the reason why we're talking about it today. It's the new Porsche Cayenne Electric. It's finally arrived, long awaited, but it's now been revealed. The one that we've obviously focused our attention on is the turbo. So, which comes with it's 1,000?
Yeah, 1,139 horsepower. I've got near 1,200 horsepower.
Near 1,200 horsepower. A range of up to 400 miles.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is pretty decent. Yeah, absolutely. But no combustion engine in sight. And that's obviously got people talking. So Many Motors says, no front end lift needed, room for friends and the ability to maybe warp time. I like it. Oh, look, a positive comment about an electric SUV. Fetch La Vache says, Cayenne Turbo for when you really don't want your Waitrose frozen chips to defrost on the way home. Jacko points out it's as fast to 0 to 124 miles an hour as a Bugatti Veyron.
Yeah. That's staggering, isn't it?
And just a little bit slower than a Tesla Model S Plaid.
Wow.
And Cayenne Black says, it's truly hideous, and they're so glad they can't afford it. It's also got a few people...
I've never heard that
it's
before.
Such a good
so
take.
Glad I'm not rich.
Thank God I can't afford this car.
Yeah,
I think about that for quite a lot of cars, actually. And some people are saying that it looks a bit like a Vauxhall at the back. And if you look at it, because the front's a little bit McCannish, right?
Yeah,
it's
a bit softer as well. It seems to have more rounded edges, I think, than the Macan.
It is a little softened off, which is quite strange because you'd expect for the big boy SUV to be a little bit more aggressive. But the back reminds me of the new Vauxhall Corsa VGT.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's a good-looking car. Yeah, I guess people would just be upset about looking like a car that's considerably less exotic.
But the thing is, the chance of that Vauxhall actually becoming a production car is zilch.
Yeah.
And now you get it on a Porsche. So you get it on a Porsche for something that's not built like a Vauxhall. No offense, Vauxhall, but you are obviously a cheaper product.
Yeah. And by the way, that GSE, I've got some news. The GSE brand, the Corsa, will probably be getting a GSE. That's what that concept is sort of harking at. So that's a sidetrack, but it's an interesting development. Because E208 GTI platform...
Is it? Yeah, but if it's an E208, I mean, it's not going to have the massive wide arches and the huge diffuser and the extending...
Yes, all the inboard suspension that it had and all that, yeah.
But it will probably come with some fluorescent green highlighting. So, that's very good. Anyway, this Cayenne. So, it's one of these things that, surprisingly, people aren't necessarily angry about it for being electric. It's more from the fact of it being a monstrous SUV, which is what the Cayenne has always been. But there is some interesting tech in there. It's actually got direct oil cooling for the rear motor that's been taken from its motorsport division. So there's actual motorsport pedigree in there.
That's cool.
And... I got to see this a few months back, wireless charging. So you can buy a wireless charging pad, whack it down on the ground, and it just means that you never need to plug your car in when you get home. You literally just drive over the top of it. You have a little game that appears on the central display that won't fry your cat, by the way.
I was just about to... That was going to be my first question.
It won't do it.
What happens?
Yeah. So they've said that there's a special... Because it does get warm and cats tend to like places underneath a car that's warm. But it will cut the power.
Got it.
And you'll get a little alert to say your cat's on your pad. By the way, go and kick them off. You can kick them off; they're going to come back anyway. But at least they're not going to be fried, which is the most important thing. But Sam, yeah, what's your kind of thought when you see this?
The one thing that always comes to mind with performance, SUVs in general, but especially EVs, is weight. I mean, it's the elephant, literally the elephant in the room.
It is quite elephanty.
Because the Macan Turbo Electric is about 2.5 tons. So this is going to be it's going to be closer to 3 tons than 2 tons, which is pretty crazy to imagine, especially given our roads are falling to pieces. God, imagine a speed hump, facing one of those if you didn't notice the speed hump and you pummel into it. I'm sure the ride will be good because it will get all the trick suspension suspension stuff.
Yeah.
But the road surface is going to take a pounding. But I have to confess, I really thought the same thing with the Macan Turbo. When I drove that this time last year, in basically 0 degrees in Lambourne, around those fantastic roads, on summer tyres, I was ready to be terrified. And I brought a spare pair of pants with me just in case. And I thought, it's going to be a scary day. But it just...
So a lot of car journalists do.
Yeah, always spare pair of pants.
Mm-hmm.
It got under my skin, honestly. It really did. It wasn't as good as the Petra Macan Turbo.
Yeah.
It didn't feel anywhere near... That car tricks you into... It feels like... I mean, dare I say it, it's a Porsche, but it feels a bit like a hot hatch. It sort of somehow shrinks itself.
Interesting.
And it has that kind of... I say hot hatch just because of the shape of the car, but it just feels like a sporty, lower, lighter car.
Can it feel? Oh, I see. Yeah. Can it
this,
feel agile at that size?
What it did feel was really pointy on the nose, and I guess that gives a sense of agility. But there's a lot of trickery in that, of course. And so I'm trying to remember if it had rear wheel steering now, but it definitely had a really eager front end, which was matched by good body control. Sam
is actually gesturing with his hands of steering because, as you've mentioned, we appeared on a podcast earlier this year, and you mentioned that you were a... Can I say you put it as that you were a failed racing driver?
Failed. Big time.
So you were a karter and then realised that Formula One was just going to cost a lot of money. So you were like, car journalism, that's where it does it as well. So it has got a kind of a slight playfulness to it. A slight,
It really is. And this is kind of what I'm thinking with this Cayenne. I think it's going to exceed our expectations. I think perhaps we're going to get in it thinking it's going to be tremendously fast in a straight line, obviously, because it is. Even without the overboost, it will have over 800 horsepower, which is pretty spectacular. But I think what Porsche's really good at, and has been good at since the Taycan, I mean, they're good at this with their petrol cars, but in their EVs, they've done it out of the box, out of the gates, is the drivability. That sense of like the way the accelerator kind of is perfectly in tune with the power delivery. Yeah. So even when you have these obscene amounts of power, it's actually quite manageable. It's really bizarre. You can, of course, make it unmanageable, but that's when you tell the car you want that. You turn off the AC and you drive a bit like a silly sod. But when you drive it properly, they're really, really drivable.
Yeah, they are extremely good at doing that. So last year I drove the new Taycan Turbo S.
Oh, how's your head doing? Still hurting?
Oh my god, that was a. I think we've mentioned it on a podcast before, but electric cars off the line performance when you did so that had again 1200 odd horsepower in launch control. So I was on a quiet road. And I was like, let's. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't test out launch control. That hurt so much. I mean, it was like, and I know people are going to go, oh, bless him, his head hurt. No, really, it's excruciating if you're not prepared. It's something you've really got to build up to, because if you think like people who race dragsters, you can accelerate so quickly that you have something called a red out, which is where your eyes do something really quite horrific. So going fast your body's not designed to go ridiculously fast off the line.
Yeah.
There is a limit, and I feel like with a lot of EVs, that 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, which is what the Cayenne will do.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous.
And it will do that all year as well, because
it will.
We timed the Macan Turbo, and it got its claimed time in the cold weather.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
There's a Porsche actually put a video out of this, and it kind of hurt a little bit watching it, because I was like, oh. So obviously, as has been mentioned, the 0 to 124 miles an hour is as fast as a Veyron, which is just bonkers. Crazy, they put out a drag race between the new Cayenne Turbo S and a Porsche 918 Spider driven by Mark Webber.
Wow.
And the video it's heavily edited, but the whole point is that it'll outgun a 918 Spider off the line. I mean, that's a 12, 13-year-old car now, but still, it's a bit like, It's like, have a bit more respect for your own cars, Porsche.
That's true. Yeah, they should have done a Tesla and got. I mean, we said that the Plaid would be a little bit quicker, the Plaid, but
do like an insurance advert spec car where you just debadge it and maybe put like a really odd grille at the front. Yeah.
Well, Tesla, when they did that drag race, obviously, I think everyone will know now. Listeners and viewers will be aware that wasn't a fair race. They chose, I think it was a base spec. They did the Cybertruck.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Drag racing a 911, but it was like a base spec 911, and I can't remember. It was an unfair race.
Yes.
There were far faster ones. But, Porsche, this could be their opportunity to throw a punch back. Maybe they don't need to. Maybe they feel Porsche's famously understated with everything they do.
Precisely. Yeah.
And I think this will be true for this as well, I think it's going to exceed our expectations.
Oh, absolutely. But, the thing is with these Turbo S's of these electric cars, I think when you have the combustion version, you don't have that. It's the instant torque of an electric car that is what causes the immense discomfort. And actually, when I did Turbo S at Weissach a few months back, when I actually got to see this Cayenne for the first time, that was bordering on uncomfortable because it had the hybrid turbos, and it just the torque is so instant. But you do feel like you benefit from getting the Turbo S because it just feels more raw. It feels more savage. Whereas when you have the electric versions, it's almost a bit like opening up more processing power. It's like going into the Apple store and choosing your processor and going, no, I'm actually going to do some 4K video editing. I'll go and get the more powerful one. And it's kind of like, yes, it's still perfectly usable. It's just how often are you going to sit and do a launch and rearrange your organs?
Well, that's it. Yeah. Drive straight to NE.
So there's that kind of comes to my mind. And the other thing as well is, have you ever driven a Cayenne Turbo GT?
That's a good question. Yes, I will have driven an early. Yeah, it would have been a 2018. Were they around then? Yeah, they would have been around.
It was about 2018, 2019. So it was a while back. But that was their idea of a ridiculously fast Cayenne. Obviously, it had been kind of mucked about with. It was GT inspired, so it was a lot more track focused. But that thing down a road, despite being lighter and more focused, it felt every bit as big as it said it was. It just felt like you were sat on top of it, and it was like holding on for dear life.
I definitely agree that the numbers are ridiculous. I think this is a general conversation for EVs now as well, because back in the day you were talking about making improvements from 5 seconds to 4.8, and now you're just jumping between models. It will go from 6 seconds to 2.5 seconds to 62, and I just think EVs are a bit too fast for everyone. I definitely think we are entering a world where power and acceleration in particular are getting cheaper. I know this isn't cheap, but of course there are EVs, considerably cheaper EVs, that can accelerate not much slower than this for considerably less money. And I do wonder whether we're going to enter a world where, famously the Lotus Carlton was brought up in Parliament. Is there going to be a time when we start to say, hang on a minute, guys, do we really need a sub 2 second hot hatch or something? Especially when the speed limits are 60 miles per hour, 70 miles an hour at most.
Yeah, you made me wonder now. Is it like, am I just getting old? Am I just getting to the point of where it's like, you have 20-year-olds jumping in them and going, it's like watching a TikTok where no one takes a breath. And you go like, how on earth is people watching this? And it's got 2,000 million views. So there's that side to it of where it's a huge amount of power, but obviously you don't need to get it. You can just get one of the standard cars and I think that's the one that you would probably naturally gravitate towards, right?
Yeah, and it will fit. I mean, even Porsche with their wizardry on suspension, it's you're going to feel the lighter weight of the car, and I presume it will be a rear motor only entry or something. So maybe it'll be a bit lighter on the nose. It might make the steering a bit nicer. So there will be more than just you'll get benefits as well as obviously the range as well will be better. So. Yeah, I think they often release these and you think, wow, that's insanely powerful and stuff. But I think most people probably do look further down the line, down the listing. And I think that makes perfect sense. Do you know what, though? I think with this, honestly, I genuinely feel like we're going to get in it and we're going to go, it's really good.
I know what you mean. I've not driven the Macan. Yeah. I drove the old one. I did drive the Taycan, and the first time I drove that, I've driven Taycans, quite a few of them, and favourite ones are Cross Turismo because they're slightly softer setup and they just drive brilliantly. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like you were talking about drivability. It's that thing of where I think the first one I drove was a turbo and it just felt so accessible. And it was that you know, all the power was there if you wanted it, and you had to flick a few things. But really, that's why one of the best versions of a Taycan is a 4S.
Yeah,
because it's just got enough power to make it feel quick-ish, but you're not spending ridiculous money on power that you're never really going to use. And it's below, you know, unless you're really flooring it, they all feel about the same. So really drivable. The steering in them is so good.
Yeah, in an electric car.
Ridiculous. They're the best driving electric cars. I've not driven many electric cars recently, to be honest, but most of
they're all kind of the same.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It's like driving a cloud.
Yeah. Some of them are really, really good, but a lot of them are like, oh, that just feels like a different version of that. Because they often are. Because they're just group sharing parts, aren't they?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So that's the thing that definitely fills me with confidence. And the other thing as well is, I'm going to say it, I don't need a combustion engine in a Cayenne at all. Might get some hatred for this, but, you know, my reasoning is, you know, I'm not all like, oh, you know, everything's got to be electric and, you know, kumbaya. But I do think that it just does look a bit rubbish if you have a new SUV now that's going around with a stonking engine. Unless, of course, it's like I think if they did a Turbo S with, you know, a twin turbo V8, then that would obviously be quite amusing. But for everything else, I'm like, the EV's fine. I'm happy if this stuff is EV, if it means that we can get petrol 911s and we can keep going with that. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think you're right. I do totally agree. Like that. SUVs where they're typically driven is in an urban environment these days. I know that wasn't true 30 years ago, but nowadays it's almost always in the city. So yeah, I definitely have felt a bit guilty when I've had press cars with big, unnecessarily large engines that will probably spend 90% of their life pottering around in town. It does feel a little bit odd now, and I know we're not unique in that, because I've been reading Pistonheads even when I wasn't here. I was still reading all of the forum posts and stuff, or most of them, not all of them. I'd be there all week. But I can definitely see a change, even in the last few years, of attitude. Some people are sort of saying, you know what, it makes sense. I did a smart #5 review the other day, which is a big electric SUV. It was the Brabus as well, so it was really, really quick. And I could see people in the comments, you know, in the forum saying, I can imagine this as my main car. I could tow my track car with this. And so I think people are starting to, it's a gradual change, isn't it? But
well, we can see from our data that PHs definitely are open, at least, to having an EV as a daily car. It's just, I think a lot of people agree that it's like, look, if I've got an EV for doing the runabout, you know, taking kids to school, getting milk or whatever, fine. But so long as that means that we can have another space for the TVR, the 911, the whatever, you will, however, need a lot of money to buy it. So it starts at £83,200.
Bargain.
Which Matt Bird very helpfully says isn't actually far off that of an iX45 M Sport. And which one looks better?
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy, that one, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. And if you want the turbo, which is currently the top one, I think I said Turbo S earlier, it's just the turbo for now, that's £130,900. A lot of money. So if you're like, oh God, that's so expensive, and I would like my Porsche with an actual engine, well, just go have a look at the classifieds, because we've got loads. There is, if I do a quick look here, I've got oh my God, that's really cool. Okay, for £20,000 less, you could get a 4-litre V8 GTS Cayenne in green with gold wheels.
That's epic. What a spec.
That is pretty epic. If providing it hasn't sold by the time I edit this, I will put pictures up because it looks flipping brilliant. Or you could go and get a V6 turbo for £77,995. Obviously, there's going to be a huge amount of choice. So if you don't want the new one, just get one of the nearly new ones, because it's going to be just as good. Right, before we get on to our second topic, Sam, just a little plug. We have early bird annual service tickets available to purchase right now. Next year's annual service will be on the 8th of August 2026 back at Bicester Motion, and if you haven't been to the last few, it's our biggest event of the year. We get many cars. We basically fill out the whole site, so it's not just the little front bit that, like you get with some other car shows. We take over the whole freaking thing, and we stuff every corner with cars. We've also got, we try and I run a live stage and we have people that come along and do talks on them. So we're in the process of getting some cool guests along now. But yes, if you go to pistonheads.com/events/annual-service, you can get your early bird discount on tickets right now. And I think that runs until the end of the year.
Epic. It's such a good show. And you do a great job there. I really enjoyed when I visited last time.
Thank you, Sam.
Great.
Yes, I remember bumping into you. Yeah. So that was completely unprompted praise. He genuinely looked like he was having a good time.
From the heart. So,
I've had a dig through the forums and I've come across a post by Tam Mullen who says, "Hi all, looking to get rid of my M140i in favour of scratching the ever-existent V8 itch. I have a van which I drive daily, and the M140i has been rarely used this year. It's only done about 2,000 miles since April. The Beamer has been faultless and is always ready to go, even if it's been sitting for a month, and whatever replaces it needs to be the same." Oh boy, and you're getting a V8. "It can't stay in the garage, but it will sit on my drive in front of the garage. There's no power in the garage, so it can't sit on a battery tender or anything like that. As ever, when I've been looking at cars, the budget always creeps up, but I really have to be realistic at around £20,000. But you did say your Opus is some creep though, didn't you? Things that have caught my eye, in no particular order, are a Vauxhall Monaro VXR, a Vauxhall Monaro VXR8, I'm not sure if they were called Monaro. I think they were just called the VXR8. A C63 6.2 in brackets, but my uncle has one and I was very underwhelmed when I had a shot in it.
Blimey.
Yeesh. A C63 bi-turbo, a Ford Mustang in brackets, significant budget creep here. So that there's, again, you're opening the door to some budget creep. An F-Type and an RS5, but they say they're not really an Audi fan. Am I missing anything? And if anyone has any of the above, experiences of reliability, etc., would be great. Not interested in having something which I can come back to after a fortnight and the battery's flat. Cheers! So, Sam, this is your first buying challenge.
Yes.
Before you give me your takes, how did you find it? Did you enjoy digging through the classifieds? Did it bring back the memories?
Oh yeah, I love it. I dig through the classifieds all the time. I've got I've saved on my phone. PH. I'm always in the classifieds, and I'm really enjoying the auction stuff as well, because the selection at the top of the website is always epic. I always go away from looking at that thinking, right, okay, I'm going to have to now think about buying another car. And I envy this PHer because I don't have as much space by the sounds of it. So I am always in the classifieds, always dreaming up other cars, but never actually buying any. But I guess that's true for a lot of us. And
it'd be very nice to be stuck with the dilemma of 20 grand to spend on a V8. So you've been having a dig through the classifieds. What's your first car?
Do you know what? I've found a Jaguar XFR, and I think this will not only tick the V8 box, but it's just about old enough. It's a 2013 car. It's just about old enough that if you left it for 2 weeks, I don't think it's got enough tech on it to flatten a healthy battery, because that's the thing that flattens batteries, isn't it? All the tech that. So I think this is basic enough that it wouldn't have any kind of, infotainment screens running in the background, like some of them never switch off apparently on some cars, modern cars. It's £21,950, but it's only done 47,500 miles. So, it's 12 years old. So
spring chicken.
Yeah, spring chicken, exactly. And of course, it's got that amazing supercharged V8.
I mean, it's one of these, because they're not... The XFRs really aren't silly money, and you think what power does that produce? It's shy of 600, right?
Yeah, over 500. Definitely.
It's well north of 500 horsepower.
507, 510 bhp.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was higher than that. So it's 510 horsepower though.
And rear-wheel drive. And
again supercharged. These are ridiculously cool. So for how much is it listed at?
21,950. So 22.
21, so 22 grand, so slight budget creep on that. But these things, I've not driven this generation of XF, I drove the next one, but I don't think they were millions of miles apart.
No.
That one drove superbly.
Yeah, and Jags just, I hope when they come back, this remains true. They have this fantastic thing. Alfa Romeo as well do a brilliant job of this, where The cars ride fantastically well, but are so, they're supple at low speed. But then even at high speed, the body control will be great. They're the sort of car you can catch a bump while going through corners pretty quickly, and it doesn't unsettle the car. They feel so beautifully judged in the chassis department. And then, of course, when you've got this roaring V8 under the bonnet, and it's rear-wheel drive. And I just think, this particular one is in a shade of red that gives it a bit more visibility on the road, shall we say. But if you found one that was a darker colour, they're super, Q cars or sleepers. They're really, really understated. And, aside from the badges, and the wheels on this are black, so I'd probably get them painted in silver because I think they're a bit pants.
Yes! But Sam is a silver wheel guy and not a gloss black guy.
No,
yes. He passed the final test.
Yes. You just lose them on this car, especially with the red paint. You just lose the wheels. They just look a bit invisible.
I tell you what, though, if you do, some cars really, I would just get the black wheels off immediately.
Yeah.
This isn't one of them. I would, again, I'm like you, I would prefer silver, but the gloss black on this, because it's such a mean thing.
Yeah.
And also because it's got chrome on around the grille and the air intakes, there's still some bright work on it that means you've just got a little bit of lighter contrast. So it's cool. It's got a cream leather interior.
Yes. Looks lovely. And it looks in such good condition.
And what's the best thing about a Jag XF interior? Come on, Sam.
I know this?
What's you getting a Jag XF?
The rotating stuff?
It's the rotating dials.
Yes,
That's it.
Yes.
You get in, and it just kind of it's the gear knob that just rises from the centre.
Bit of theatre. Yeah. Bit of theatre. They are wonderful. They feel mature, but at the same time are quite immature. They're sort of like a gentleman's or a gentle lady's car, but then they're an absolute hooligan at the same time.
Absolutely.
It just depends how you drive it.
That's it. A wonderful split personality. So good shout on that one. It's also had quite a bit of work done recently as well. So it is. So yes, while 22,000 is kind of on the higher side for an XFR, it's ready to go. And it's been really well cared for, which is the most important thing with XFRs. So,
and it's got 2 new rear tyres ready for your enjoyment.
Great, good shout. So this is car 2 that we've got.
A equally gorgeous Porsche 928S. It is absolutely stunning. It's in, it looks like it could be rolling down the Miami beachfront in the 90s.
Yeah, because it's white, 90s. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's epic. And I just love those. I love that they've got the round pop-up headlights. I just think they're so cool. Not many cars have that. The Lotus Elan, famously, the original one, had the round, obviously, pop-ups, but they weren't. It wasn't quite as wrapped around. This is just 2 bolts.
Yeah, they almost look like they're just kind of stuck on top, really.
Yeah.
But it's I think it looks absolutely fantastic. My knowledge of I said this recently. My knowledge of 928s, 944s, 924s is absolutely abysmal because there's some. What was it? I think we had a 928 GTS recently, which was extraordinary money. This one, however, is £20,000, and if you drove past me, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference because I'm a moron.
But that means that's good for this car.
Yes,
of course.
The only downside, I'd say, just having a look at your screen, is it's the auto.
Yeah, that is a downside. But because this is a slightly more luxurious take on a Porsche, it's not like, a 911, you do want to drive it on a twisty country road. I could just imagine burbling around in this. I know that might not be exactly, it's coming from an M140i, which, to be fair, is a pretty nice car to burble around in as well. Or a silkier sound than a burble, isn't it? This definitely does burble. But it doesn't feel, because the crazy thing is, and I reminded myself for this when I was researching it earlier, the 928 came as a successor to the 911. It was supposed to replace Porsche's sports car, but as a flagship with a bit more luxury focus. Obviously, the 911 famously lives on to this day, and very thankfully indeed. But this car just feels like definitely more usable Porsche than a 911. It's more space. It's a bit more relaxing.
I would love a modern day 928 though.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah,
I know someone tried. Oh God, it's Nardon Automotive has tried to do I met them a few years ago. They're doing a resto mod in collaboration with the people that did the Automobili Amos Delta. It's a really cool. It's got a bit of flack when it released, but I thought it looked dead cool. So I'm like, if Porsche could do something like that, that would be dead cool. Yeah, look at that. Oh, right. I'll put some pictures up on this on YouTube if you're watching as well.
Oh, those wheels.
Particularly in gold. But it was the bloke had a 928. And he was like, I really want to do my own resto mod in it. So that is his car. He's done the whole lot, and he's
That
now
interior. Wow.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's come a long way since I last saw it, but yeah, it's got the pop-up headlights and everything.
Is that 20k?
No, I don't know how much it is, but
you
for
can add a
20k, you can get a legit 98
Yeah.
and not one someone's built in their shed.
Yeah, but this one's still lovely for 20k. I think it looks great, and I think the wheels on this, by the way, I assume they've been refurbished very recently because they look pretty spotless to me.
Yeah,
it's great.
They do look really good. Good shout. And finally, your third and final car.
Well, I kind of broke the rules a bit, so I did go with another Jag, but
Two
then
Jags.
but then I squeezed in very last moment an Audi RS4, the B7.
Broken the rules already.
Yeah, but let's talk about the Jag first, just really quickly, because you rightfully identified that it is a little bit pricier than what XKRs normally go for. This one's £20,990, so 20.
Yeah.
I think if you walked up to the seller with a bag of cash and it was 20 grand, they'd probably take that, right? I think they're not the 990 off.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know until you try.
Yeah.
This is a 2004 XKR, sorry. So it's the X100 series.
Yeah.
Now, these, in the name of transparency, you can get an XKR of this era for maybe sub 5. But I feel like this is where the Jag XFR, both Jags, is where this comes into mind of like whether you should be spending sub 5k on a big V8 Jag is a good idea or not. I don't know. So yes, it's a little bit on the high side, but it's in pretty good nick, right?
Yeah, I mean the service history is bang on. I mean it's been barely used in the last 3 years. It's covered 3,000 miles, so it's clearly it sounds like kind of the same kind of mileage that our PH is getting out of its BMW, but it is absolutely immaculate. I mean, again, everything from the wheels right through to the interior, it looks, to me, and I had a quick look online, it looks like the best example of this car on the internet.
It is a fine example of the mark.
It's stunning. Yeah. And so, yes, it is rather expensive. But again, 4.2 supercharged V8, it looks like it's been well looked after. You could hopefully just have this on the driveway and not really have to worry about anything other than maintenance and just regular servicing. It's not going to be like your 5k equivalents where you're probably going to find as soon as you get up on a ramp or when you come to do a service, there will be some bills incoming. I think this one you might be all right, hopefully. I mean, it is an old Jag, that's probably inevitable. It's going to have some bills. Lovely car. I think they just have aged so well. Weirdly, when I was younger, I didn't like the design. I thought the rear looked a bit like...
I know what you mean.
Like that.
It's a little...
But I love them now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got kind of like it's got a pinched arse. Probably the best way of describing it. But I'm glad you picked that up, actually, because what I was going to say is, if you are watching this, can you let me know, just drop it in the comments, of what version of XKR this is? Because I feel like it's a special version, but I can't fully tell what it is, because it has the XKRS bodywork. So it's got that slightly lower front lip, the slightly lower rear end. So it looks spectacular. It's got the wheels that was used on the 100 special edition. I just don't know if it is a special edition or not. And it's got the cream leather interior as well, which I also thought was reserved for one of the specials. So it looks magnificent. Yes, it's a bit on the high side. However, if you want an immaculate XKR from that era, you've got one right there.
Exactly. And I'm just going to cram in very quickly
all right, cheeky.
my little RS4. Just because I love the RS4. I think it was great. I mean, I used to watch DTM back in those days in the early 2000s.
Sweet,
so the B7, I think it was a Red Bull branded DTM car.
I know.
It's proof of how racing can just stick in your mind forever.
I know, right?
The marketing, the budgets, in the day feel expensive, but it lasts forever. And this one's under budget. So it's just under 19k. 92,000 miles, so this might be one that has, you might start to get maintenance, things like bushes and stuff like that start to go, don't they, at this age?
Yeah.
But what a car.
Great shout. My picks. Now, I always like a left field choice, and I've gone a bit left field for this one. I think we may have even brought one of these up in a previous episode, but I feel like it just fits so well in this, and it is Sam Sheehan. And listeners at home, it's a C5 Corvette. Last owner for 11 years, wow. £17,500. It's in silver, and I mean, look, it's not going to drive brilliantly.
I love the pitch tone in your voice. That you have to do that with this generation of Corvette. You go,
yes.
Okay.
I love the C5 Corvette. I used to get so much stick as a kid from my brother because he would always be like, "Oh, rubbish cars." Well, yeah, sort of. But I think they look really cool. We were talking about racing. I loved the Le Mans cars of these run by Pratt and Miller in yellow. So flipping cool. So I think it looks good. And it was also, I think this was the last production car offered with pop-up headlights.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which I'm worried about, having repeated a interesting fact from another episode that someone may not have found all that interesting. Anyway, so you've got a little bit of history there, but having a look at what the guy's after, or the person's after, they are after power.
Yes.
I feel like, and I say this in a nice way, something maybe a little yobbish, something to have fun in.
Well, they want a V8, so immediately they're looking to be a bit more yobbish.
And an VXR8 is on the list. Okay, yes. I mean, it doesn't get much more yobbish than that.
Yobbiest of yobs.
And I'm like, God, let's get the Americans involved in something like this. As for running costs, haven't a clue. But these were, I mean, it's going to be thirsty. But I mean, it's like, you're not going to get any expensive materials on this. It's going to be fiberglass and an LS engine and some other bits. The suspension, you don't even have to worry about springs because I think at the back they're leaf springs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Although coilover conversions are very popular on these because it transforms them.
Yeah, not surprising.
And I think that's cool. And then the interior, you don't have to worry about things falling apart because it's just made of plastic.
Yeah. And they look epic. I mean, if you just want that thrill effect, like walking up to that on your driveway, or if you drive it up to the shops or something, that looks special. That's the sort of car that kids will stop and point at, you know.
That's it, 100%, Sam. That's absolutely it. That's going to get people going, wow, what's that? So that's my first shout. C5 Corvette. It's slightly tongue-in-cheek, but I'd want one of these quite badly.
Do you think it's single digits MPG for most of you running in that? It doesn't matter because if the mileage is tiny, but I'd imagine it's probably barely double digits.
Possibly. Because if you're in a Corvette, you've got to floor it everywhere, right?
You've got to floor it everywhere, right?
Mainly because it's got, how much horsepower are we talking?
I'm pretty sure they're quite a petrol-y smelling car as well. I've been behind a few.
Yes.
So you're burning a little bit. A lot of it's not going towards actually powering the car.
It had, apparently, around 350 horsepower.
Which is plenty.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, that's not a huge amount from a 5.7 litre V8, but that's America.
It's less than a third of what the our Cayenne Turbo had.
Now, for this next car, I've shaved 1.7 litres and I've gained over 60 horsepower.
Yeah.
This one seemed like the obvious omission from the list. And again, I'm sorry for bringing up a car that we've brought up before, but it just fit perfectly. It's an E90 M3. This one is in Silverstone blue. So it's the kind of silver with a touch of blue. 78,000 miles at 24,995. So I have gone a smidgen over budget. But
just a 5K.
Just 5K over. Hey, they were open to some budget creep.
Yeah. And that is lovely.
You might be able to find a coupe if you just wait around a bit, but I love the idea of the four-door E90 M3. It looks great.
Yeah, the back end looks brilliant, doesn't it?
It does look.
And the race cars were based on this shape. So I keep bringing it back to race cars, but
the DTM ones.
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
They were based on this shape, therefore instantly cooler.
So this one, cross-plane crank, 4-litre V8, revving up to an extremely heady 8,000 and a bit RPM. They're just such cool cars. You obviously know how brilliant they are. It seemed like an obvious omission not to put that on there. So E90 M3. And my last one is, I mean, this one I think I've won, Sam.
Yeah,
I think I've won.
That's really left field. Yeah,
it's a Lexus ISF, and this I actually, after finding it, I did see in the comments that some people had suggested it as well. So this isn't just something that I found and going, oh, look at me. People had suggested an ISF, but I got really lucky that this morning when we were preparing for this podcast, one popped up and it was in my head the moment I read this challenge. I was like, ISF all over it. This is a 59,000 mile Lexus ISF. It's a pre-facelift. So it doesn't come with the factory LSD. I don't think this one's had it fitted either. No. So that is a slightly more desirable one on the facelift, but then you're paying 5-10 grand more. So you're getting, 19,750, 5-litre V8, 420 horsepower. So even more power than the than the M3. But the crucial thing here, Sam, is that it's a Toyota at heart.
Yeah.
And these V8s, I actually know a couple of people that have had some issues with them, but they are mostly bulletproof.
Yeah.
Thirsty, but bloomin' tough. And they sound fantastic, naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
Good, really well built interiors as well. If I remember correctly, they weren't particularly interesting inside, were they? They had a...
No.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean,
oh my God, that's really uninteresting.
Pretty standard Lexus IS
Yeah.
on the inside. I think they had like a carbon fibre effect in the centre console and a little badge that said F. And that's about it. But it doesn't matter because you have a massive V8 up front that, yes, will be thirsty, but it's not going to be the sort of car that you leave it parked up for a while and you come back to it and you go, what on earth has happened?
Yeah.
It's a really solid thing. So I can't unfortunately put pictures up of this because it's a private seller. We don't have the rights to the images, but just go on Piston Heads and look up the ISF. It's the first one that comes up, and that is my pick. Sam, which one are you putting forward? Of your four cars?
I'm going to go with the XFR.
That's a good shout.
I just love that car.
That's a good little rivalry right there.
Proper British beef, rear-wheel drive.
Absolutely. So if you're a patriot, go with Sam's choice. If you are a wise man, go with mine.
Yeah.
So
I think definitely when it comes to long-term, as well looked after that one is long-term reliability. I think you're going to win that one quite comfortably.
I'm not used to this level of agreement. We used to have quite a few arguments in this. So yeah, we'll agree.
Well, that's the reliability though. On coolness, Jag.
Good, you've rescued it. Yeah. Well,
car to the max.
Agree to disagree, Sam. So let us know what you think. So first of all, if you're listening to this on Spotify, I usually put a poll up so you can choose if my car's better or Sam's. Just click vote on that. It'd be really nice to know who won and why it's me. If, however, you disagree or you want to put your own thing forward, I'll put an article out on the homepage of this. There'll be a link to the original threads. Just click on that, jump in, put your own thing down, and just go, Cam and Sam are useless. Go for this instead. You can also check out Piston Heads auctions. I was having a look around. There's nothing that really fits the bill at the moment, but the case with auctions. New stuff comes about all the time. So go check it out. And if you think, I've got a car that kind of fits that criteria and I'm looking to shift it on, come and sell on Piston Heads auctions. Just go pistonheads.com/sell, choose auctions, fill your details in. Someone will get in touch to go and move things forward. Oh, there's one more plug I forgot. Ooh. Just very quickly, we have a promo going with Michelin tyres where you can get up to £100 off a new set of tyres. Just go to pistonheads.com/Michelin, fill your car details in, and see how much you could save. It will be somewhere between some money and £100.
Michelin's, I do like a good Michelin.
I do love a good Michelin. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that just because we've got a thing going with it. They are very good tyres.
Well, I'll counter that with the Michelin Man still terrifies me when I see them.
OG Michelin.
I still...
The new one.
A little bit scared.
The current one.
OG one is super scary.
OG Bibendum is a nightmare fuel. I don't know what it is with caricatures from the 1920s. Yeah. They just went, let's just ruin children and adults for all eternity.
It's shocking. So, I honestly, even the modern one, which is a bit softer and friendly, the big smiley face, is still terrifying. It's really interesting. Yeah. I tell you what, next year for Halloween, I don't usually celebrate Halloween, but I might see if I can find an original Bibendum costume and go and cause havoc. Yeah, but you don't want someone, if they push you over, you'll just bounce around when you'd be like one of those, when you play that the big ball football game people do on stag do's nowadays. Zorb. Yeah, you'll be the Michelin version of that. Or, and if someone goes and attacks you, you've got loads of tyres around you, so you'll be absolutely fine. Right, final topic. This one comes from Young Richard UK, and he says, apologies, I know there's probably a thread the same or similar to this. I was watching an old Top Gear yesterday when JC was talking about his famous hatred of the Vauxhall Vectra. As a kid, I never understood this. My friend's dad had a Mark I Silver Vectra as a company car. He used to take us to football matches on a Sunday, and I absolutely loved that car. Maybe it was partly because he drove it like he stole it.
Probably because that's what you need to do to actually get it to move. Plus, I've always had a soft spot for Vauxhall, as my dad had 2 Cavalier SRIs, and my first car was a Nova SRI. Ooh. Nice. I just wondered what unpopular car opinions others had. So, I mean, this is a great thread. There's so many. I think there's like 40 odd pages of people.
Oh wow!
And it did get to the point of where people then started arguing with each other, which, as someone pointed out, is kind
in
of
the forums.
Yes, never. Which was kind of defeats the object of saying your unpopular opinion. But going through them, I can see why some people were provoked. So we'll go off with Roger Irrelevant says. I've not
Great
misread
name.
that. That's Roger Irrelevant says, I can't get excited about the noise a car makes and would rather it made little to none. Oh, Sam, quick reaction.
I mean, he sounds perfect for EVs, but yeah, I can't see how you'd ever. Does he mention a specific car?
No,
just all cars.
All cars.
What? So like even the best sounding V10 engines and.
Yep.
Okay, right. Yeah, I can't agree with that.
A few years ago, I got a passenger ride in an R8 LMS GT3 car with a chap called Frank Stippler, who was a Nürburgring legend.
Yes.
Won the 24 many times, and it's probably the closest I've come to passing out from the sheer enjoyment of a car's noise from being sat in that.
Yeah.
Oh, and a 911 RSR like you drove. Amazing.
Yeah.
Valiant says French cars are better than German cars. Depends.
I was about to say, depends in what way.
Yeah.
But if he's just saying overall,
compactness.
If you talk
charm,
about, compactness, price on average.
Price, yeah.
Although that's less so today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't imagine the Germans doing a Twingo.
No. Yeah. Well,
then we get the Mini.
The Up and the Mini.
Yeah, but the Up is. The Up doesn't have the character of a Twingo. It's sensible convenience.
Yeah,
there's an unpopular opinion right there.
I wonder if this is related to reliability, because obviously sometimes there are some German brands quite high up in the unreliability lists.
Yes, exactly. French brands, however, wonderfully reliable.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
No problems with electrics ever.
Deej RC says, I hate the BMW M5. Always have, always will. Utterly pointless car.
Wait, always will. So this is going back. I thought this was specific because the current one is controversial. I actually really like it, by the way. I've driven it and I think it was epic. It really struck me. I thought I was going to hate it and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I thought it was
you didn't like it?
I wasn't the biggest fan of it. No,
it's big.
I think Matt liked it a lot. Matt was the one doing the review on it. I only drove it for half an hour or so, and
it does take a bit of. It's
I've also driven an E39 M5.
Yes, that's the best.
That is a marvelous car.
Was it the blue one on there?
Yes, it's the Heritage Street with the grey interior.
Yeah, fabulous. So they got my stains out, did they? Then that's good.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh god,
it's wonderful car.
Yeah, I think they're having to do that quite often because it's a wonderful car. However, what I will say is I drove the previous gen M5 competition. Really wasn't a fan of that at all.
Yeah.
So I do kind of get it, and then drove the CS. We'll get onto this in a bit, and was blown away by it, as a lot of people were. It's a brilliant car.
Yeah.
Shermanator says, when anyone talks about how they can feel the difference. Oh, here we go. When anyone talks about how they can feel the difference in damping or unsprung weight in an M4 CS versus a normal M4, they are talking complete rubbish. I mean, the whole point of this is that it's a safe space and that we shouldn't judge people for. But I mean, it's just wrong. I just feel it. Yeah, I mean, have you driven a CS? Have you?
I'm trying to remember but I definitely have driven lightweight wheel, just unsprung. I suppose if it's specifically on that, I don't think I have driven a CS actually in the M4, but I can definitely even wheel changes.
They are considerably different to drive. My opinion is they are. The regular car, they are what an M car should be. I mean, obviously, that can't be right because it's expensive and stuff, and they are a little firmer. But they are definitely different.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe I'm talking out my backside.
And that was specifically the unsprung mass.
I know.
Which I imagine.
The difference in damping.
Oh, the damping.
Damping is. I mean, I'm sorry, Shermanator, but. Yeah,
maybe they're on a smoother European
land.
Maybe I think in the UK because often
maybe their local road is like that road from Calais down to Le Mans.
Yeah,
just billion tables.
Yeah, I think there I can understand perhaps, but in the UK, I mean, even the tiniest of tweaks, you're probably going to notice.
Yeah,
our roads are good in that way.
Yes, exactly. Good point, Sam. And I think you've rescued Germinator there a little bit too. And Chocolate Frog says, the Bentayga isn't a bad car. In fact, I imagine it's actually an excellent car in almost any scenario, not involving a width restrictor.
Yes. Yes, and I
agree.
Yeah. I love it.
I like the Bentayga.
I when it first came out, the same. I mean, the Rolls Cullinan is a different one entirely. But I definitely wasn't happy to see it when it was being talked about. But then you get in one, you drive it, and you just think, oh, this is lovely.
It's actually kind of cool. And if you look at the concept that they did, I think they called it the EXP10.
Oh, yes.
Maybe that is a really cool car. And the first version of the Bentayga didn't quite look like that. When they did the second gen, it looked a lot more like the concept, and that is it wasn't the EXP10, maybe it's the EXP9. Yeah, it's the EXP9 concept, that's it. That is a really, really cracking looking car, and I think the modern version looks like that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm all for it. So I thought what we'd end on is Sam and I are obviously very opinionated, and we've got some of our own. So, Sam, what's your unpopular car opinion?
I'm going to open, before I tell you what it is, I'm going to say, ironically, the car I'm about to say I think is a little bit overrated is also a car that gave me one of my most epic driving experiences. So that's weird, of course.
Strange.
So I drove a racing version of this car, before I tell you what it is, and it was amazing. At Brands Hatch, in the wet, in a championship, single make championship, did one race, 4 piston heads, and it was epic. But then, and that was my only driving experience in the Civic Type R, the EP3 gen. Sorry. But then I drove one on the road. It was a Honda press office car, which was obviously lovely. And I actually did a head-to-head with my own beloved Renault Sport Clio 182. And I promise I'm being, I'm obviously biased, but genuinely, I got in the Civic thinking, this is going to be epic. Because I had my race experience memory in my mind. But because the car is just so normal at normal speeds and a little bit famously lacking in torque.
Yes.
It didn't feel, and also the grip, even for I think it was an 05 car, it has quite a lot of mechanical grip. So at lower speed, it's pretty. It doesn't really play around. It's even a modern Fiesta ST, the last ones they were making, you can go into a roundabout at 20 miles per hour and be sensible, but you can feel the car has some agility plumbed into the chassis. It feels playful, even when you're being sensible. It's got that character from the get-go. I think this Civic the EP3 only feels really exciting when you drive it like you stole it.
Yes.
And that's fine if you do track days in it all the time. But if, like me, you have moments on your roads where you can enjoy them, a couple of corners. I just found in that I'd always be 2 gears too high, so I had to really drop down 2 gears. Gearbox was fabulous, amazing.
Yes, I agree with that.
Such an epic gearbox.
Amazing gearbox.
But the steering, it was electric at a time when things were still hydraulic.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the feel. So yeah, drive it like you stole it. Epic, love it, totally get it. But to drive day to day and just to put a smile on your face in those moments when you get a bit of gap in the traffic on a B road, for example, it never quite got to the levels of excitement I had hoped for. Engine is spectacular when you rev it out.
That's it. Yeah. I drove it back to back with an FN2, so the one that came after that.
That was really firm, wasn't it?
That was the one that nobody... it's the FK2, which was the turbocharged one. The FN2 was the one of the last naturally aspirated, the spaceship one.
Yeah.
And thought it was infinitely better. I think the problem with those... when I drove that EP3, I was again on a Welsh mountain road, the perfect place you'd think for this car. And it was like, okay, by the time I got it into the power band, right at the top of the rev range, I was already at the next corner. And I was like, oh, crap, got to back off. And then you come out and it's like, oh, it's gutless. Yeah. So I would love to try one of the JDM versions.
Yes.
Because they had a bit more grunt and they were just set up a bit better. And they look cooler because you can get them in championship white. But sorry, I totally agree with that. I think that's... it was a car I really wanted to love because it's a childhood icon, right?
Yeah.
Of, the EP3, but just didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah.
My unpopular opinion, I've been wanting a platform to talk about this for a long time, and I'm so glad I've got it now.
Get it off your chest.
I hate the Rover 75. I cannot stand the Rover 75.
What?
And the reason is, which is strange, because I really like the Jaguar XJs from that era.
Yeah.
I think the Rover 75, the thing I hate about the Rover 75 is it kind of encompasses everything that I don't like about where British car culture was trying to go. So it's this idea of like, well, there's the stereotype that British people, they all live in cottages and they live in the middle of nowhere and they all have afternoon tea. And while some of those are correct, I don't want that reflected in the car. Like, you look at it and it's so twee. It's just a few, and it doesn't have that charm of, say, like a Toyota Century, of where the attention to detail in it is magnificent. So yes, while it has doilies in it, it's it's still a wonderfully engineered car. And I know that there were 3 series underneath, weren't they?
I don't know. I think there were 3 series. It was at the BMW ownership. Yeah,
I think there were 3 series. So they weren't exactly cobbled together badly, but I just look at the interior and I think, God, that is just gash. It's just, to me, it's on the wrong side of, what's the word I'm looking for? Woody and quaint. Something about an XJ from that era is really cool. It's just that kind of like, it feels a bit old school. It feels a bit boisterous.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the idea of the 75 V8. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because the Jags, you could get them with V8s. And they do feel like the kind of thing you could waft about in a manor in.
That's it.
But the 75 for me always felt like a car of where it's like, I'm British and I've got to show that, it's the car that, it doesn't look like it's any different to something that would have come out in the 60s.
Yeah. There's an Alan Partridgeness about it.
There is an Alan Partridgeness about it, yeah, absolutely. So I've got nothing against you if you like the Rover 75. I do understand their appeal. It's just, I really like the Ian Callum era of Jaguar and Aston Martin, because for me, that was like, if you want to make it a British thing, because that's how I feel the 75 came across, of trying to make it a very British car. It showed that it's kind of like this. It's forward thinking. It's modern. It's cutting edge. It's world beating. It's like when Vauxhall tried to revive the Viva, and they did those horrific carry-on style 50s adverts that was just I can't
let
it
go.
Yeah.
Let it
yes,
go.
Exactly.
It's
forward.
Definitely got that roundness of 90s era design as well, which is, I hesitate to say, coming a bit back into fashion. I do see people cruising around in like Mark III Golfs, kind of that round. But I know exactly what you mean. It doesn't.
Don't mind roundness. It's the stick-on chrome that I can't stand.
The interior, I hadn't actually seen how just contrasting this center section in the interior was the black plastic area, which just against the rest of the cabin just looks so out of place. It looks like it's been plucked out of a Vectra, So I do get that. The thing I love about them, or I say I love about them, when I've seen them on the roads, because they're just really, like you said, wafty, they just look like just a comfortable kind of relatively spacious car to cruise around in. But that doesn't mean they're necessarily anything interesting or good. It's just, if I had a 10-car garage, maybe I'd take this one to Tesco's. I don't know.
Well, on that note, we will call it a day there. Thank you ever so much for listening to the Gassing Station podcast. I hope Sam and I haven't made you throw your phone at a wall or punch your infotainment screen in anger. But I stand by it. Don't like the Rover 75. If you liked what you listened to, please leave a 5-star review, because it just lets us know that we're on the right path, and also helps us get the word out and get more people having a listen and hopefully contributing to the Pistonheads forums, which would be a good thing. Sam, anything you'd like to end on?
I had a really, really good time. Thanks for having me back on. And please keep the feedback nice. This is my first go at this, so hopefully we can keep doing this. It's been lovely.
He did a great job. And Sam and everybody else, I shall see you next Tuesday.